One of the strongest features of the brand new HeadRush MX5 is without a doubt the looper. The looper. The looper. The looper. The looper. The looper. Well, you get the point. Coming up next, the MX5 Looper. Hey there, I'm Scott the Pedal Guy. How you doing? Well, we're all about pedal demos, pedal knowledge, and pedal sales. I love pedals, and so do you. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the looper of the HeadRush MX5. Before we get started, if this is your first visit to my channel, please take a second, click on that subscribe button down there, give me a thumbs up, let me know that you like this video, help my video rank in the YouTube algorithm so I can make more videos for you. Without a doubt, the looper is one of my personal favorite features inside of the MX5. Because it records up to 20 minutes of audio across 50 layers. So you can do so much, it doesn't really matter what style of music you like. Additionally, if you have drum loops, you can load those in and you can play against the drum loops. You can play against an entire song if you want to. You can just load it right in and it'll work like a charm. And of course, you can save your loops. And once, of course, you record your loops, you can do a whole bunch of great stuff to it, which I'm going to take you through over the next few minutes. So let's get to it. Let's start by getting into the looper. To do this, just simply press and hold the second foot switch, and that will get you into the looper screen. And from here, the 3 foot switches do the following. The first foot switch will handle your start, stop, and clearing of your loops. The second foot switch will record, overdub, and peel your layers. And the third foot switch will exit the looper entirely. And of course, you can also use the touch screen as well to perform the same exact tasks. At this point now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load in a loop so that I can take you through the rest of the parameters. To do this, just go to the upper right corner to the 3 dots, load loop, and I've already got this loop that I've loaded into my HeadRush here. I'll take you through in a future video on how to do that. But as you can see now, there are a few things have changed. This is a linear looper, so we're going from left to right, meaning that the loop is going from the position of 0 all the way up to just a little under 7 seconds, meaning the loop is just under 7 seconds long. You can also see the name of the loop there at the top, but you can also see now that the first foot switch here is color-coded green and it has a function to perform, meaning it can start, stop, and clear. So if we want to start the loop, just simply hit the button and it starts. You can now see also that the color has changed to blue, meaning the secondary function is now available, which is stop. So we can start, we can stop, we can start, we can stop, we can do whatever we want. But what we can also do is we can simply press and hold that first foot switch to clear the loop entirely and start back at 0. To do that, just simply press and hold, and voila, there it is. But I'm going to need that loop in order to show you the parameters of the looper, so I'm going to reload those back in, and now let's cover the parameters. All right, I have reloaded the loop. I started playing it back. Let's cover the parameters of the looper. In the upper left corner, you can see what's called layers. Now, you might recall this from earlier when I mentioned this before. You can record up to 20 minutes of audio across 50 layers of data. So that means that you could have 50 different layers on top of each other. So if you want to really create one of those really cool harmonized Queen type sounds, that would be a walk in the park here. And we'll get into that as I start recording some loops here in a second. But let's talk about those other parameters. So we have speed, and this is kind of self-explanatory where you can slow the loop down if you want to. And you can see that as I made that change, the time of the loop has now been expanded out. So instead of under 7 seconds now, it's a little over 27 seconds. So you can go to ambient city if you want to. Very easily. You've got your length. And what the length does is it creates the amount of repeats before the loop will actually recycle all the way back to the beginning. So you can go to, say, 2 if you want to, and you can see now that the looper is going to recycle at nearly 14 seconds before it goes back. In this case, though, I'm going to keep it on 1. Now, below there, you have your playback mode, where you can go between normal playback and reverse playback. So if you combine that with, like, say, the speed, yep, you can get into some trouble there for sure. Okay, moving on from there, you've got the mix control, and the mix control determines how much of the looper is going to come out, is going to be mixed into the outputs of the HeadRush. You've got the feedback control, and what the feedback control does is it determines the amount of signal that will be fed back into the looper as you're recording additional layers. And there's some really interesting tricks you can do with it which I'll cover in just a minute. And then you have the position parameter. And what the position does is it determines where the looper is in your signal chain. And what I mean by that is if we go back out to the top level here, you have two selections here. You have pre and you have post. Now when you're in pre, that means it goes all the way to the beginning of the signal chain of your rig. And it creates a much different sound than it would if you're in post, which is all the way at the end of the rig. So if I go back into the looper and I go ahead and change that parameter, here's what you get. So obviously, in most cases, post is going to be your go-to setting, but that is something to determine as you start looping on your own. But at this point now, you pretty much have the whole tour of the looper. So now let's go ahead and actually start recording some loops. Okay, I'm ready to go ahead and start recording, and what we're going to do is we're just going to record loops over the initial loop here. So one thing I do want to change though is I want to change the length from 1 to 2 so that I get 4 full measures to play with. And from there I'm just going to go ahead, hit record, and the start button, and then punch in and do an overdub, and let's just see where the chips fall. The last parameter I'm going to cover here is going to be the feedback parameter. Now what this does is it determines how much of the looper's feedback, the looper's signal, is going to be fed back into the looper as you record additional layers. So if you happen to be like an ambient player or like a frippertronic sort of guy, this is the parameter you're going to be living in. And really the best way to explain it is just simply to start creating some layers with these loops, and then having a little fun with the feedback and showing you what we can do. So let's just go ahead and do it. First thing I'm going to do is record a drone. So get a nice strong note, record it, and it's going to go for about 7 seconds, 8 seconds, and then we're going to cycle it back. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and record the first loop. Let it sustain all the way through. Now we have 2 layers. So at this point, let's go ahead and put another one in. Here we go. Let it sustain all the way through. Okay, let's do one more. So let's say I wanted we wanted that to be louder than everything else, really pronounced. What we could do is go to the feedback, and I could pull that back like about halfway down. Let's pull it down to 50%. and let's make this happen. So hit the overdub button. So those other loops are now a little quieter underneath there. If I don't like that and I want to peel it back, just peel it back. Simple as that. Now you're back to square one again. So to show you a really extreme example, let's take that all the way to say 20%. Did you hear the volume drop? Went all the way down. Okay, hit that overdub again. If I don't like that, peel it back. And now we're back to square one again. So what I'm getting at is that you can do some really weird stuff here. You just have to practice with it a little bit and get used to it, but the feedback parameter is actually very artsy in what you can accomplish with it. And if you work with that and the various other rigs that you can bring up, because remember, the looper is not rig dependent. It's independent of the rigs. So you can record layer after layer after layer after layer. As you saw in the first demonstration, I was able to actually go through different rigs and put different tones and textures on top of everything that I was recording. So in any case, I hope that helped you out. Well, that concludes this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any ideas or anything that you'd like me to cover on the MX5, use the comments section and I will absolutely consider it. Have a good one. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any further questions, be sure to visit us at thepedalguy.com. But in the meantime, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly videos and tutorials. Thanks for stopping by here at thepedalguy.com, where I love pedals and so do you.